That's what leads me into this whole arena of sustainable local economies, which is my passion, if you will, in helping people within communities find a way to access and deploy their assets and resources in ways that they are more self-sufficient, more self-reliant, capable of caring for themselves, particularly by providing those basics, the essentials, if you will, for their lives and well-being, namely food and water and fuel and energy and housing and clothing, and then healthcare, security, and education. So it's working with those two bottom rungs of Maslow's hierarchy of needs that kind of becomes the foundation, if you will, or the driver for establishing sustainable local economies. Within that context, obviously we're playing against a global economy that's very well established. This economy has provided what we need for our lives, and to a large degree it's been very successful, although we can see that along the way there are certain effects that that generates that are not particularly desirable, not the least of which is our dependence on sources for those critical basic needs coming from areas far afield from where we are. So in the interest of creating an opportunity space, if you will, for localization to occur, being able to anticipate which ones of those products and services that we're getting out of the global economy that we could in fact bring back home into our communities would be the easiest way, if you will, to get into localizing our economies and becoming more sustainable and self-sufficient. Identifying those assets and resources then is a very critical step in the whole process. Communities, as they begin to start their strategy for localization, begin to identify where they have assets available, assets being in many instances something other than money. So it can be the land that they have, it can be buildings, it can be equipment, people themselves, and what they bring to bear on solving problems that are in front of them as they embrace localization. So at the heart of a value network are projects that people feel are worth investing their resources and their assets into, and those projects can be dealing with infrastructure. They can also be like business deals that people would want to see started and then be able to sustain themselves within the community. So those projects and business deals are loaded into something we call a community investment portfolio. So it's like any kind of an investment portfolio. People can look into it. It's very transparent. They can see what are the projects that are up for consideration, what are the businesses that have the potential to be launched and sustained, what are the needs of those projects and businesses in terms of investment. What do they need? People's time? Do they need access to land or property of different kinds, buildings, equipment, money? What are those requirements? And then that kind of petitions the members of the value network to contribute those in ways that it advances those projects and businesses and gets them launched. It's also the community investment portfolio, as kind of suggested by the name community, is a way for those projects and businesses to in fact engage the broader community, not as members of the value network, but as participants in the system that is providing the compensation or reward for members of that value network, so that in fact they can realize an advantage or a return, if you will, from their investment, and that the community at large become active participants in that entire kind of business ecosystem, if you will.